Several potential 2028 presidential candidates have made appearances at the World Economic Forum in Davos, Switzerland. One of them, Kentucky Governor Andy Beshear, who called President Trump's speech today unhinged. Our Ed O'Keefe, as promised, joins me again from Davos. He spoke with Governor Beshear. Ed, take it away.
Major, so you mentioned a handful of 2028 wannabes or possiblies, let's say, are here. California Governor Gavin Newsom, who's made his presence known every day. He's been in attendance. The Michigan Governor Gretchen Whitmer still talks about possibly running. She was here as well. And the Kentucky Governor Beshear. The three of them and Oklahoma's Republican Governor Kevin Stitt invited guests to talk about being governors in the United States. A good opportunity for state executives who don't necessarily dabble in foreign affairs to come to this side of the world, meet with business leaders, and maybe meet some counterparts that they would like to deal with in a more professional role later on. Beshear didn't deny that that might be part of what's going on here. But we talked right after he attended the president's speech, and he didn't like what he heard. You've just come from the president's speech. You were in the room. Your impressions of what he had to say?
The president's speech was dangerous, disrespectful, and unhinged. The president spent an hour plus disrespecting our allies, calling them names, even doing fake voices for them in private conversations. He called some of our allies dumb to their face and specifically called out leaders who have been great friends to the United States of America. We are less safe when people believe that the United States isn't committed to the NATO alliance. We are less safe when we push Canada, one of our strongest partners, away from us and towards China. And then just the rambling and the random stories, calling Greenland, which he believes is so important, Iceland, numerous times. It makes you wonder.
I imagine you've had some conversations with other world leaders that are here.
Not just here. I've gone through Helsinki to Stockholm to here, and the leaders in Europe are hurting. You know, the United States has been the leader of the free world, and now we're acting like the bully on the playground, saying that just because we can do something means we should do something. That's not the United States that they know. That's not the United States they've looked up to, and that's not the United States the world needs. We need to get back to being who we are, and I hope that the people of Europe, that our close allies, know that America is more than just our president.
I was going to say, we did a poll in recent days that found 7 in 10 Americans opposed to the idea of spending any federal dollars to buy Greenland.
Yes.
And roughly the same amount opposed to the idea of using military force to take it. So the country, in essence, is against the president on this one. Yes. I guess as you go home and this issue continues to persist, what's the country to do to try to convince the president otherwise?
Well, first, we've got to speak out, and that's why I'm here. As I go home, I hope our Republican congressmen and women and senators will grow a spine again and will start doing their darn job, that they will stand up to a president who is going far beyond his regular powers, that is stepping in and taking authority from Congress, and they will put a stop to it. I mean, the idea that the congressional leadership, Republican leadership, hadn't said Greenland is an absolute no publicly means that they are not acting as a separate branch of government. They put their hand on a Bible, many of them. They pledged to uphold the Constitution, and they're not doing it.
The White House made a point of saying that the president is set to begin a fair amount of domestic travel starting next week to try to drive home the midterm message and help Republicans. Governor Beshear is currently serving as the chairman of the Democratic Governors Association, the group responsible for getting more Democrats elected to lead states across the country. And he said he looks forward to seeing the president out on the campaign trail back home because he thinks it ultimately will help Democratic candidates as Republicans have to defend the Trump record. He says right now, Democrats are looking good in Georgia, Iowa, and possibly Ohio. Those could be surprise races for Democratic gubernatorial candidates. Major, interesting to see him here. We asked, how does this help a presidential campaign? He said, I'm not there yet. We're worrying about governors first.
You mentioned possiblies there. Governor Gavin Newsom, Democrat of California, also there. He was given a bit of a takedown, or at least an attempted one, by the Treasury Secretary, Scott Bessent, today. Let's take a listen to that.
I think it's very, very ironic that, Governor Newsom, who strikes me as Patrick Bateman meets Sparkle Beach Ken, may be the only Californian who knows less about economics than Kamala Harris.
So that reference to Patrick Bateman, you'll have to look up the movie American Psycho. Google it, kids. You'll have fun. Ed O'Keefe, Governor Newsom also had something canceled there today and blamed the White House. What happened?
Yeah, he was supposed to be at an event hosted by Fortune magazine at what's called the USA House or the Freedom House. Many countries, companies have facilities in Davos that they host events at. Apparently, his office is claiming the White House essentially told Fortune you couldn't invite any non-federal or non-administration officials to appear. Who knows? Newsom also is speaking tomorrow, where he is likely to lay out a real case against the president, but he has been an omnipresent figure here over the last several days. Major.
Ed O'Keefe, always a pleasure, sir. Thank you.